Hello and welcome to the Online College of Coding video tutorial series. This is the first video of the series on Squid Intermediate in GameMaker. In this video we will be starting a new project, creating a room and a player. Before starting this video, it is recommended that you have seen the series Getting Started with GameMaker. Let's get started. To make this game called Squid, we are going to be using GameMaker Studio. If you have already worked through the Getting Started with GameMaker and Introduction to GML tutorials prior to this, then your GameMaker theme will be set to GM8. Otherwise, you may want to go back and watch them so that you can change your theme and the content here looks the same. The first thing that we want to do in this project is to create the room that will run our game. To do that, firstly we will load the content that will go into the room and create the game environment. The content items that we will be importing to do this are going to be some background images. To do this, we're going to go to the resource tree and right-click on Backgrounds, then click Create Background. We're going to rename the background to BCK for background _ ocean, and then click Load a Background and choose the background ocean image. Click Open and then click the green OK tick to save and close. We need two more backgrounds, so we're going to repeat this process, creating a new background, this time calling it BCK _ coral. Again, we will load a background and select the background coral. Click Open and press OK to save. One last background, BCK border. Again, click Load Background, select Border, click Open and OK. Now that we have these backgrounds to use in our room, it's a good time to create the actual room. So again, in the resource tree, right-click on the Rooms folder and choose Create a Room. Here in the Room Properties window, we're going to go straight to the Settings tab and take the opportunity to rename our room to RM _ game room. Now that that's out of the way, we'll go to the Backgrounds tab. Here you'll notice there's a list of backgrounds. Each of these is a different layer that you can assign a background image to. So we're going to click on Background 0 and then set its background image with this drop down to be background ocean. You'll see the background changes. Next, we'll click background 1. We're going to change it to be the coral and tick this foreground image box. What this does is it sets the coral background as a foreground image in front of other objects and other backgrounds. Then we're going to scroll down to the bottom of the options and change the horizontal speed to be -6. This is going to make the background scroll or move across the room, just like things move past when you're looking out a car window. Scrolling back up to the top, now we're going to choose background 2, set it to be the last background, border, and again, tick the foreground image. You can see it just came to the front there in front of that coral. We're going to change its horizontal speed as well to be -8. This creates a parallax effect. That means that things that are closer to you are going to move past faster than things that are further away. Now we're going to scroll up again and go back to the Settings tab where we're going to change the size of the room. The width will be 720 and the height will be 480. Now you can press the green Run button and see what you've made. Here we have the backgrounds and their parallax effect. You can see that the border which is in front is moving past more quickly than the coral which is behind. This gives an illusion of depth in a 2D environment. Now close the game and press the tick to save your room. Now that we have our complete room, we're going to add some interactivity by adding in a player. It's time to make a sprite and object for the player. In the resource tree, right-click on the Sprites folder and then choose Create a Sprite. We're going to give this sprite the name SPR for sprite underscore squid. Click on the Load Sprite button. You will have 10 sprites that complete an animation for the squid. We're going to use the Shift button and click on 0 and then hold the Shift button and click again on 9. This will select all 10 of the images, 0 through to 9, and then we can click Open. In the Sprite Properties window, we're going to choose the Precise Collision Checking option. This should automatically tick Separate Collision Masks. If we click on the Modify Mask button, we can get a view of what's actually happening here. This grayed out area here is the area that GameMaker has recognized is our sprite, and this is where it'll check for collisions, so other objects can only bump into the actual pixels of the sprite. This is precise collision checking. Separate collision masks will generate a different mask, as these are called, for each of the sprites in the animation. Click OK to close this window. The last thing we're going to do is click the center button. This sets the origin to be in the center of the sprite. When we talk about a sprite and its position, the position we're actually referring to is the sprite's origin. Now click OK and close the Sprite Properties window. Now that we have a sprite, we can attach it to an object to make it do things and let it exist in our room. Let's right-click in the resource tree on the Objects folder and click Create an Object. We will set the object's name to obj underscore squid. Then we'll use this drop-down to choose the sprite squid as the object's image. In the box labeled depth, we're going to change the value from 0 to 10. This will make the object appear to be towards the back of our room, and it will be drawn behind other foreground images and objects with a lower depth value. Underneath the events list, we're going to click Add Event, and then choose Key Press and pick the spacebar. From the far right into this event, under the Control tab, we're going to choose the Execute Code action and drag it into the actions list. It's going to add for us a window to type in some code. We're going to type in here 3 lines of code. The code that we're adding firstly creates a variable called jump power and gives it a value of -14. This will be the power in our jump when we press space. The vSpeed built-in variable is set to the value of jump power. This will actually change the object's vertical speed. Gravity, another built-in variable, is set to the value of 1. This will make sure the object's jump comes back down again. Now click the green tick to save the script we've just written, and then press the OK button in the Object Properties window. Now we can go into our room and go into the Objects tab. Make sure we have the object squid selected in this drop-down menu here, and click in the middle of the room to place it. We can then save our room and press the green arrow to run and test our game. Here you can see the environment we had before, now with our squid sprite. And you'll notice that each time you press the spacebar, it jumps up a little bit. Now you can close the game. At the moment, our squid animates all the time. However, we only want it to animate once when we press the spacebar. To achieve this, we need to add some more code to the press space event that will tell our object to do this. So once again, open up the object squid. In the event of press space, open up the execute a piece of code action. The first line of code that we're adding creates a variable called animation speed and gives it a value of 0.7. Image speed, a built-in variable, is then assigned the value of animation speed. This makes a nice, smooth, slow animation. Image index, a built-in variable, is then set to 0 to start the animation at the start. Now we can click Save on the script And we need to add another event into our object. This one will be a create event. Again, we're going to drag in an execute code action, and we're going to type in the following 3 lines of code. The first line of code here creates a variable called alive, setting it to false. The other 2 lines of code set built-in variables image speed and image index to 0, stopping the animation and setting it back to the start. This code will set the squid to be ready at the start of the animation when it enters the room and is created. So now we need to add one more event and another script. So click save on that script and add another event, an other event. It is going to be a animation end. We're going to drag in an execute code command and type in these 2 lines of code. Just like in the previous script, we're setting image speed and image index to 0 to stop the animation and set it back to the start. Click save, click OK, and now we can run our game with the green arrow. And now you'll notice there's no animation until we press spacebar, and then each time we press it, there's only one animation. That's all for this video. This has been part 1 of making Squirty Squid in GameMaker. In the next part, the second video, we're going to add some challenges to our game. See you then!